So throughout my time on YouTube, we have spoke about many YouTubers selling something pretty awful to gain a bit of profit. We've seen people doing crypto scams, it could just be a product that is awful, they could be selling some like shitty low quality merch, but no one has tried to make some profit worse than what we're about to talk about today. Because when I was sent this article, I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes, and I'm about to read the headline right now, but I just want to give you a bit of a trigger warning. We're going to be talking about some stuff that could be triggering. I mean, we're talking about a true crime YouTuber, and you can imagine the type of conversations that come with that, so just a bit of a warning. True crime YouTuber is slammed for charging viewers to see a photo of a 11-year-old, and it goes on to explain a lot more in the headline, but I'm going to blur it because it's very fucking graphic. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of this specific situation because, like I said, it's very graphic, very triggering, and it's just not something I really feel comfortable doing. But the reason we are talking about today is because this true crime YouTuber did a video on this case and then decided to put the photos behind a paywall. So this is the YouTuber in question. They're called Zav Girl, and they make a lot of true crime videos. And I believe they've made 2 videos on this boy, as we can see here, was that Ganon screaming, comparing it to the other video, and then also unseen body cam footage from the night. Like, it's obviously very, like, triggering stuff, so I don't really want to focus too much on the stories themselves. But as we can see here in the article, it says, once the pictures were released to the person running the Zav Girl account, the outlet says she charged her followers $3 on Patreon, a membership platform, to view them, which is fucking mental. So the way Zav Girl actually got these photos in the first place, from what I understand, we're about to get into a video of a lawyer explaining how she did it in a much better way than I could explain. But she basically paid about $400 to get these files, and for some reason it included the photos. And Zav Girl said she didn't want to include these in her video, which is obviously a fucking good thing to do. You shouldn't be including them anywhere. But instead of including them in her video, she instead said you can go to her Patreon and view them, which again is disgusting. I mean, I shouldn't really have to explain this to anyone, and I realise 99% of people know this, but these are very real people that are involved, and I can't imagine how distressing that must be for the family when they found out about this, because they did find out about it, and as you can imagine, they're not exactly happy, and they've actually spoke out in an interview to talk about how disgusting this is.
We just finished the trial just over 2 months ago, Brian, and now we're having to kind of relive some of this stuff and not being able to put it behind us.
Yeah, I can't even begin to imagine how heartbreaking this was when they found out. I mean, we see like a bunch of true crime YouTubers on YouTube, right? And a lot of them try to be as respectful as possible doing these videos. But then you get someone like this and doesn't seem to have any empathy for the people involved. And we're going to get into Zav's statement on this whole situation in just a bit. And to me, it becomes very clear that she doesn't have any empathy for the people involved.
The world got enough information from the trial to have every discussion they want to have. Why do we need to go have a freedom of information request and pay for this kind of information and then dishonor my son by putting these photos out there like that? I mean, the world got to see it. I don't know how well you followed it, but the only day I chose not to come to the trial was the day that they showed the photos. Now I feel like I can't even go on YouTube without the possibility of accidentally coming across these photos.
Fucking hell, man. Like, I don't understand how Zav can hear this and hear the dad saying this and not feel like they've completely done something absolutely wrong. Like, there's no debate over it. Her big statement that we're about to get into is that she's debating, being like, you know, there's 2 sides to the story. Some people think it's fine. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. The dad's literally came out and is talking about how horrible this is. Surely that should be enough. And even before hearing the dad's opinion, which should have been obvious how he was going to feel about it in the first place, why would you even need these photos? Even if you were doing like a true crime video talking about the case, why do you need the photos? Don't get that. And then on top of that, why do you need to put them behind a paywall? What is going on in your brain? Now, like I said earlier, a lawyer did actually come on this show news station to talk about this and talk about the legalities, and it turns out this is actually very illegal, and he goes into more details on how she actually got these photos in the first place.
So Florida has one of the most liberal Freedom of Information Act laws with the Sunshine Law, because Florida puts a big emphasis on the public having access to public documents. And I am all for that. But there is literally a law in place with an exception for photos, especially of minors that have as a result of domestic violence. And the only way that those can be released is if it is to the deceased parents or close family members. So these photos should have never been included in any Freedom of Information Act request. And frankly, there is a 3rd-degree felony in the statute for the custodian of records if they willfully and knowingly released these documents.
Now, obviously, this is a very serious situation in itself, like, even if you just take out all the legalities of it. But like you said there, this is also a third-degree felony, so if the parents do want to take action, they can. Like, legally, she's done a lot wrong here. The part that shocks me the most is just listen to what the lawyer believes happened to you and how she gained the photos.
My guess is what happened is she requested the entire file and they sent the entire file and just didn't do their job to look through and pull these photos out.
Like, how do you mess that up? In something as serious as that, shouldn't you be like double checking, triple checking, like everything to make sure that you've got this 100% right? Like, we're dealing with something so serious here and so heartbreaking and traumatic for the people involved, and they just didn't check, or at least that's what he's thinking. I don't understand how it's possible. Hey guys, I want to address what's going on right now with the Gannon video I created. Unfortunately, this seems to be something where people are very divided on how they feel about it, and I'm hearing a lot from both sides. Now, I personally haven't seen this whole, like, divided debate. Like, from everything that I've seen, even the comments on this post in particular, doesn't seem very divided at all. Maybe she's seen something that I haven't seen, but everyone seems to be very against it. It doesn't matter, the parents have said how they feel, and it was obvious how they were going to feel. That's all that should matter here. Some people genuinely think making a video including the photos is bad, and I respect their opinion and their feelings. Other people, like myself, think of photos and the corona discussing / explaining them as interesting and informative, and are able to view it all in a more scientific, detached way. It's just one of those things where it depends on the person. So like I said, it seems like she doesn't really have any empathy here. Like, that's at least what it's coming across as to me, saying that she can look at these photos in a more detached, scientific way, which I would somewhat understand if your job was to look at photos, but this is a true crime YouTuber who talks about cases and gives like the details and makes a video discussing it. This isn't your job. If you want to make a video in the first place and discuss the case, then that's one thing. Like, there's a lot of true crime YouTubers who do it in a much more respectful way, but having these photos included doesn't add anything to the video. It doesn't improve it in any way. No one needs to see that, especially when we bear in mind that it's a child. Like, it just adds so many more wrongs to this. I am not adamantly against taking down the video if people are truly unhappy with it, and I will absolutely consider doing that. But right now, it seems that there are a lot of other people who are acting in bad faith and creating lies for fun and excitement in order to pit others against me. If you've heard the latest rumor that I've been distributing photos of Gannon's, so she goes into more details about how people are making up this rumor, which isn't true, which, yeah, I mean, if people were saying that, I haven't personally seen people saying that, but apparently people were. If people are making up them lies, I don't see why they would need to do that. Like, that's obviously a disgusting lie in itself, but also, what she's actually done is bad. You don't need to make it seem worse. When there are other creators who have the same photo up right here on YouTube for public viewing on their channel, where anyone can stumble across them, and they are not being attacked as I am right now, it becomes obvious that some of this hate I'm receiving is not genuine, is being done for other reasons. Now, I haven't seen these other YouTubers who put these photos up, but I would say the exact same thing, but also, Zav Girl put them behind a paywall. She's making people pay for them. Like, she paid for the files themselves, she paid for the photos, basically, and now she's selling them. And just think about it, if enough people sign up for this, which I hope they didn't, but if enough people did sign up to see these photos for some reason, and she started gaining profit over something like this, like, how fucked up is that? YouTube drama gets clicks. I understand some of you have issues with me charging money on my Patreon for the video. If I was charging money for the files alone or something like that, I'd see your point. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're included in your Patreon. You've mentioned they're included in your Patreon. That is still like a selling factor to your Patreon, which is mental. But in this case, I spent a lot of time and worked hard putting together a video lining up the coroner's audio and description along with the appropriate part of the photos she is describing, and editing it together to try and make it as informative as possible for the viewer. That is what I'm charging for, which I would hope you can agree is understandable. Yet again, doesn't really matter. A lot of this doesn't matter to me. Like, she still put the photos in there. That's the part that is very fucked up. Anyway, thank you to those who reached out to me with your take on it in a respectful way, who understand this is simply a bit of a grey area. Is it? As to what is socially acceptable and what isn't. Like I said, I'm not against removing the video and I care what you think, but it's hard to make sense of it all when I'm getting some very seriously unhinged threats being made against myself and my loved ones, and those threats are coming from those who claim I'm doing something morally objectable. For those of you who are willing to discuss this rationally and want to communicate your thoughts, please comment on this post as I might not see it anywhere else. After I deal with the threats, I will come back and read everything here so I can get an idea on the best way to proceed based on all of your input. Thank you guys, Zav. And like I said, when we go through the comments here, it doesn't seem very split at all. I mean, let's just go through some here. You want to be paid for all your work you did to make a disturbing video of a brutally little boy, Gannon paid the ultimate price. Karma is real and it has no expiration. Here's the thing, this isn't about what we think. Gannon's family has been through a hell that most of us will never comprehend. This case was closed already and his family have finally started trying to heal from those wounds. All this did was reopen them wounds for absolutely no reason other than greed. For all you defending this because your thirst for morbid curiosity wasn't quenched or your quest for scientific knowledge was hampered, too bad. Here's some signs for you, Zav. The world doesn't revolve around you, thankfully. Zav, when you or anyone can be emotionally detached from photos of... I'm definitely going to have to bleep a lot of these words because, I mean, this video wouldn't be allowed otherwise. But once you're emotionally detached from seeing these photos, it's time to take a break from true crime. We know how Gannon... no photos needed. And yeah, I mean, if I just scroll through the photos here, you can see no one is divided. Everyone has a very similar opinion, and I don't see how you could have the other opinion, really. Right, hello there. As you can tell, this clearly isn't the same day that I recorded the previous part that you've just watched, because I actually recorded the part that you've just watched yesterday, and at that time, Zav Girl's only response was that community post that I read out, but she hadn't made a video yet. But as you've probably guessed, as I'm recording this part, she has now uploaded a video. It was actually uploaded 13 hours ago, which was like, what, 2 AM my time? And the video is called My Apology to Gannon's Family and Everyone I Hurt. It's a 3-minute video, so let's see what she has to say. I didn't want to like kind of get this into like a part 2 and stretch it all out. Let's just do it all in one video.
I want to apologize to everyone I've hurt, but especially Gannon's family. I've been doing some major soul searching and reflecting. There are many trying to define my motivations. And while I'm not looking for forgiveness or trying to make excuses, I do hope to provide additional context that has not been made clear. I have followed the Letitia Stout case closely, and it was actually during the trial that I made the official records request. And it was in El Paso County, Colorado. I requested all the video, audio, and written records.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is worth pointing out, because obviously if she did request that, that is fucking mental. But I'm just hoping that she's not going to just start making excuses and give reasons as to why she did it. Like, the fact that she didn't request the photos doesn't really change anything. She's still putting them behind a paywall.
Photos just happen to be in the files.
Which is mental. I don't get how that can be.
I spent time reviewing what I received so I could provide more info from the trial. I believe many of my images were already shown during the televised trial, and I saw the photos on other public YouTube channels that live streamed the trial and shared the evidence. I didn't think any of the images were new. These photos were already public, although the video I put together with the coroner's voice was my own creation. I chose to put the video on Patreon because of the sensitive nature of the evidence. Putting the evidence behind a paywall meant added security.
Right, okay, let's not pretend that that is the reason you put them behind a paywall. That makes no sense. I only put them behind a paywall for extra security, whilst you're also getting paid if people want to see these photos. Like, that makes no fucking sense. The photos shouldn't be available in the first place. We heard what the lawyer said earlier in this video. Also, who are the people wanting to go out their way to see these photos? I don't want to see these fucking photos. So yeah, I don't really get this idea of extra security. Sounds a bit stupid to me. It sounds like you just wanted a way for people to subscribe to your Patreon, realistically.
And I chose not to put the photos on YouTube, a public forum, where the views would have allowed me to make more money, and the photos would be seen by more people.
I mean, we don't know if you would make more money through that. Maybe you would, but either way, it doesn't really change anything. You still charge people $3 to see photos, which is fucking insane.
I realized my intentions were not communicated well. My channel style is sort of me hanging out with friends and speaking off the cuff, and I did not articulate my reasons or think my decision through. At this time, my Patreon website has been shut down. I am not sharing any of the photos or video anywhere, although you can see the photos published on other popular channels. Nothing you see is from me, nor will ever be. To those who have supported me and followed my channel, and to the true crime community, I'm sorry I let you down. I cannot imagine the pain Gannon's family has gone through. My anger over what happened to Gannon is the reason I started following the case. I'm not this evil, heartless person like many are saying, but I'm also doing a lot of self-reflecting, and I'm looking into sensitivity training. I did not want to add to the family's loss with anything I said or shared about this case. And it will be a long time before I ever trust myself or my decisions again. To Gannon's family, I have no words that can make this better. No one should have to ever go through what you guys have been through. I'm so very sorry for any pain that I have caused you.
I mean, look, she's apologized, which is definitely the right thing to do. Obviously, it's very easy to sit here and say that it shouldn't have happened in the first place, but it did. So I guess if you were going to do anything after doing something like that, apologizing is the least you can do. So I am glad she's apologized instead of like the initial response we saw where she was saying, you know, there's like 2 ways to think about it. Some people think it's okay, some people don't. What do you reckon? But yeah, whilst we're here, let's actually have a look what the response is like in these comments. I haven't read through any of these yet. How can you not understand displaying a 11-year-old boy is morally wrong? When you lose your humanity and empathy for a child, when you cannot see a right to dignity. Time to step back and find those feelings. It is those feelings that differentiate us from the likes of Letitia. The fact you have to have it pointed out to you is appalling. A simple apology, taking accountability instead of making excuses would have sufficed. When you roll your eyes while saying you're sorry means you don't feel you owe any apology. Yeah, I kind of noticed that towards the end.
I'm so very sorry.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's the part they're on about there when she went, I'm so very sorry. I don't know, maybe we're reading too much into it, but yeah. I can't believe anyone in their right mind would want to view his photos and pay money for it. I feel so sorry for Gannon's family. Yeah, that's a bit I don't get. Like, who are these people paying to view these photos? And why? This whole situation just seems really fucking weird to me. I don't understand why she thought it'd be okay to do this in the first place. I don't understand why anyone would want to even pay for these photos or see them full stop. I just don't get it. The fact that so many of her weird fans are trying to justify this or defend her is pretty sick. Yeah, it looks like people are not really buying the whole apology very well at all. I mean, surely she isn't going to just start posting, like, cases straight away again, because I don't think the response is going to be very good at all. But maybe she will, who knows. But yeah, I mean, I would love to know your thoughts down below on the first portion we spoke about, that I spoke about yesterday, and then this apology itself as well. Let me know all your thoughts down below. And yeah, if you're new, subscribe, all that stuff, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit, alright? Goodbye.